What we need is more confidence in ourselves, more confidence that freedom works, more confidence and understanding that if we truly care about our fellow man and we're concerned about the economic conditions of others, that we can take care of more people better, have more wealth better distributed in the free market system than we do once the government gets involved. Yeah. Because once the government gets the power and the control at the central in central government, it ends up serving the special interests. Yeah. This is the reason that the freedom movement, the ideas of freedom, bring people together. Not because we agree with each other on how we want to run our lives or how we want to spend our money, but we agree on the fact that freedom is important for us to make our own choices and that we get to keep our own money. Today, we have exactly the opposite, and all welfareism and socialism and communism is exactly the opposite because government controls everything. So then everybody has to fight to get control of the government. And this is what happens. Today, I think in the last 5 years, the number of lobbyists in Washington have doubled in number, and they're growing exponentially because they want to get control of where the money and the power is. But if we had a government designed to protect our liberties, we, the people, would have it. The biggest hang-up of this, and the reason that the do-gooders don't want us to have it, is some of them sell it and they convince themselves of this. Yes, but we don't trust you with your personal liberties. You might do something that's not helpful or something that you shouldn't be doing. Or we can't trust you with your money because you might not take care of your old age benefits. You won't take care of your medical needs. At the same time, they give us a program that's going to cause equality in this country, equality of poverty. And where the medical system won't work, the educational system is barely working right now, and the political system is in shambles. It's run by special interests. So we have a magnificent opportunity. This, to me, is as much of an opportunity as a concern, because the people are starting to realize that 90% of the American people said, it's broken, we're on the wrong track, and we have an answer to this. And fortunately for us, it's not brand new. It's something that we know about. It's been in our traditions. It's part of our Constitution. And therefore, we should be able to achieve it. There's reasons to be very optimistic about this. And the accusation of us going back to ancient times, you know, back to the Dark Ages. Freedom is not the Dark Ages. Freedom is really a very new idea. If you look at the history of mankind, thousands of years of history, 90-some% of all history has been run by tyrants. 90% of the world's run by tyrants. Our government's becoming more tyrannical all the time. So we've only had this little test of time, and it produced such magnificent wealth. And yet we have lost our confidence because we get frightened. We get frightened about economic concerns, and then we get frightened, and in many ways justifiably, at least we should be concerned about events like 9/11. But we have to understand how those events come about. And to say that we need more government to solve those problems is missing the whole boat. We have to work that into understanding where we came up short, where we have come up with short with our foreign policy and our financial understanding. And then we can come up with these answers. So that this to me is a grand opportunity. 100 years ago or so, for some reason, our country and our political system took freedom and divided it into pieces. They got to thinking, they saw economic liberty was one thing and personal liberty was something else. Social liberty was something different than economic liberty. But it really isn't. If you have a right to your life, and you have a right to your liberty, you have a right to the fruits of your labor, and you have a right to do what you want with your life, even do dumb things. But you have to assume responsibility for it. You can't impose your mistakes on other people. Of course, those who would like to regulate our lives, they declare a war. So they declare war on drugs. Drugs are bad. And as a physician, as a father and a grandfather, I think drugs are very dangerous. But I also know as a physician that probably there's a lot more danger and a lot more damage and a lot more addiction done with prescription drugs than with illegal drugs.
That's right.
We as a people generally understand that you have a right to intellectual freedom to read and study what you want, and that you have a right to pick your own religious values. But we so calmly accept the notion that the government has to regulate everything that we put into our bodies. And it makes no sense. In this country, you know, you don't even have the freedom to drink unpasteurized milk unless you get permission from the government.
That's right.
So I would say that yes, you can handle that. It's not that difficult. if you like unpasteurized milk, fine. If you want to smoke something that might not be something I want to smoke, that's fine too. But because this also becomes a constitutional issue as well. When a state legalizes the use of marijuana for medical reasons that may well help somebody that's sick with cancer or AIDS or some other problem or disease, and then the federal government comes in and said, oh, the state law means nothing. Even though before 1937, the federal government never regulated marijuana. They come in and override the states, arrest people who have never committed a violent crimes and put them in prison, sometimes on mandatory life sentences, and they've never committed a violent act. And our prisons are overflowing, and 70–80% of the prisoners are related to the drug war. We have the second number of prisoners of all the countries in the world, and we haven't waken up. And you know what they do? They do this in the name of compassionate conservatism.